Shinluan was snatched away by a dragon that looked like a pile of scrap, but instead of running away, he just comfortably stuck around and refused to leave. He spent all his time sleeping or surfing the web, eventually turning the legendary evil dragon into a Chinibu afflicted, overgrown. The dragon had made a pact with the emperor, promising to take the princess away 10 years later. He was supposed to hold the princess hostage in exchange for gold. But 10 years later, the dragon didn't even spare the princess a single glance. He was too busy being obsessed with his shiny, glittering Shinluan. He snatched the person away without breaking a sweat. Then he just left a note. "I've taken the princess. I want over 10 pieces of gold." The princess was absolutely furious. "I am beautiful. You're so blind." The emperor was absolutely ecstatic. He saw that the place was piled high with gold. The dragon dropped the man onto a pile of hay. But no sooner had he put him down than the man started acting shaky. "What's the matter? Are you stunned by my beauty?" The dragon, however, was only thinking about those 10,000 gold. "Just wait for your knight to come and rescue you." The man had already meticulously prepared for the knight's arrival. He had already gotten rid of anyone who could actually fight. After all, the man was originally a priest. He spends his days solving people's problems. But one day, the man suddenly ran away from his duties. He felt guilty for letting down the knights, yet he couldn't bear to abandon. Ivor told him that he should just follow his heart. The next day, the man divorced the knight. As a result, his actions drew the fury of the church authorities. In a fit of rage, they ordered him to become a saintly watcher. Ivor was struck as if by lightning. Once he became a saintly watcher, he wasn't even allowed to sleep. Even when he went to the restroom, he was under constant. He's only allowed to eat bland, tasteless gruel. He can never leave the temple for the rest of his life. He's forbidden from ever seeing the sunlight again, and if he ever tries to run away, he'll be burned to ashes as a sacrifice. So, he starts plotting his escape. On the very day the dragon comes to snatch the princess, he deliberately steps out into the sun to bid it a final farewell. He makes sure to grow out his long, golden hair and wears metal accessories that glint and shimmer in the sunlight. Because, as it turns out, this dragon has a weakness for anything shiny. "I refuse to be kidnapped as some princess. The dragon will be so focused on the treasure that it won't even notice me. And I'll be able to make my escape in broad daylight. Once I'm out, I'll just find some handsome guy to break the curse. Then I'll never have to be a saintess ever again. I'm truly the mastermind of the century, haha." The dragon returns to its lair. It realizes it's been tricked by a fake princess. But for some reason, this person looks strangely familiar. It feels like they've met somewhere before. 10 years ago, a little boy wandered into the dragon's lair. The dragon opened its eyes, still groggy with sleep. It turned out to be a little kid with golden hair. The little guy used his tiny hands and feet and clumsily climbed right onto the dragon's back. The dragon was stunned. This little kid wasn't even afraid. With his big, sparkling eyes, the little guy told the dragon he looked cool. "In all my years, this is the first time anyone's ever called me cool." The little guy started telling the dragon stories about brave heroes fighting dragons, all because he had kidnapped the princess. He's planning to extort the king for a small fortune. Actually, the goal is to defeat the dragon to save the princess. The dragon finds this idea ridiculous. "If it were me, I'd definitely take down the knight instead. And I'd snatch up all the gold for myself." The little guy reaches out with his tiny hand. But the princess is still just a kid. It's so sad that she got kidnapped like that. The dragon and the little boy hit it off instantly. They make a pact to wait 10 years before kidnapping the princess again. The dragon is playing with the elf. It somehow feels a bit like that little guy's style. The elf points to the spot beside him. He wants the dragon to move over. He can't get any sleep himself. The dragon refuses. "Why should I? This is my bed." He points to a messy spot off to the side. "You sleep over there." Elf looks at him with disgust. Then, he blinks those big, watery eyes at you. "You probably don't know this. Our princess has lived a life of luxury, pampered and sheltered. She's incredibly frail. If she's not feeling well, her heart starts acting up. She might even pass out or worse." The dragon lowers his head, defeated. "Fine. If the princess dies, the king won't give me my gold. For the sake of that pile of gold." The dragon transformed into a human and lay by the roadside. A dragon turning into a man? This really caught Ifu off guard. But what made things even more intense was he was a handsome warrior. Isn't this exactly the man of her dreams? Ifu immediately lay down. His heart was pounding like crazy. The dragon inched closer and closer. As the dragon shifted to the side, he followed right along with him, until he had nudged the dragon off the bed and onto the floor. The dragon couldn't take it anymore. "Is this bed not big enough for you?" Ifu hugged his knees and pretended to be asleep. The dragon let out a weary sigh. What a pain. In the end, the dragon just sulked in the corner, fuming. "Cute elf, I just wanted to get close to you." Early the next morning, suddenly, the entrance was blasted open. A group of soldiers swarmed in. "Hand over the divine artifact, you monster." The dragon looked annoyed and troubled. "What divine artifact? Wait, didn't I kidnap a princess? I have no idea what you're talking about." "You're a dragon's? The evil dragon won't fall. Just transforms into a dragon god." "I can speak, you know." "What evil dragon?" Actually, their swords all dropped. Only then did the evil dragon realize, as if struck by lightning. Actually, the dragon was the dragon's dragon. It wasn't the sect leader that the dragon captured, but the dragon was still admiring its own transformation. Not a bad look. The dragon was enraged by the mockery. "What? You're nothing but a fake." The divine general launched a surprise attack on the dragon. Even without using any tricks, the divine general fought the dragon. The dragon, however, couldn't wait any longer. "Could it be that you're not into men? That is so embarrassing." Because someone was actually holding a portrait looking for the dragon. The dragon snatched it away. "No, I can't go back. And I can't turn back now. I told you, you've got the wrong person." The dragon rolled its eyes, looking a bit disgusted, and waved it. "Stop making such a fuss. You can just stay here and use it. Hurry up and go." Actually, he was totally confused. Still waiting for him on the side, Ifu came up with an idea. Suddenly, he hugged himself tight and started making things up. "The dragon has already tainted my body. I can't do anything intimate anymore." The dragon and the knight were both completely stunned. The dragon finally loses its temper. "I only slept with you, that's all. It's not just fine." But the more he tries to explain, the worse it gets, haha. In reality, his brain just completely short. He can't believe it. He's lost his faith in the gods. He begs Elf to go back with him, to seek the gods' forgiveness. "The bishop will forgive you." Elf looks impatient, his face dark with annoyance. "Are you deaf or just not listening? Catch him for me." Ethel thinks Elf is trying to protect him. He runs off, crying tears of gratitude. The dragon points at Elf. "Are you just going to let him go?" The dragon sighs in frustration. "What a waste of effort. You've really gone and picked up a piece of trash that nobody else." Elf, however, insists that the dragon wouldn't lose out, claiming he was very easy to take care of. Just like that, all the gold was gone. The dragon rushed toward the slave who had discovered him. "Get out of here." In order to stay, Alf genuinely started drawing for the dragon. "Mr. Dragon, I'll build you a magnificent, unparalleled palace. You know, if I keep staying here." The dragon turns his head away, not wanting to. He doesn't believe this liar anymore. Seeing that he's skeptical, Ifu picks up a tool. "I'll show you," he says. "It's even more valuable than 2 pounds of gold." Hearing 2 pounds of gold, the dragon's eyes instantly light up with greed. Ifu begins to explain the craftsmanship to him. "It's already an internal feature. The notification will be sent out in no time. It's even more than 2 caddies of gold." The dragon's eyes lit up at the sight. Ifu knew he had him right where he wanted him. He has a thing for gold. Once the transformation is complete, both of them are harboring their own ulterior. Once he's led to the palace, we'll kick him to the curb and take over the rest of the estate. I'll make sure he's so busy he won't finish his chores even in a That way, he'll have to stay here forever. Ifu secretly introduces it to him, pretending "This is a super luxury bed I custom made just for you. You don't even have to turn into a human to sleep. What's more, it's crafted entirely from obsidian." He doesn't forget to butter him up with a round of flattery. "But how could mere obsidian ever be worthy of your noble aura? That's why I've layered it with thick, engraving gold into every single pattern. Finally, embroidering the entire bedspread with gold thread to complete the set. Now they can drift off into sweet dreams in the palace." Ifu gave the dragon a quick pep talk, leaving it completely speechless. It was totally brainwashed. The white-clothed one only took a small amount of material. At this moment, Ifu was already imagining the giant lion and the dragon lounging on the massive bed. An hour later, the dragon had already gathered all the materials. After 4 hours of meticulous hand-hammering, the massive, luxurious bed from the blueprints was finally finished. Ifu felt a bit deflated. It was completed in just 4 hours. Ifu thought, "This won't do. At this rate, I'll soon be obsolete." By then, I'd have to go back to the church. Even though a holy sinner has a high standing in people's hearts. Not only does he have no freedom, but he's also expected to use his beauty and chastity to satisfy the church and the saints' eyes. He's not having any of that. So, he came up with a brilliant plan. As long as he can find a reasonable excuse, the church will have no grounds to drag him back. Finally, he sprawled out on the big bed. Mr. Dragon, you've worked so hard. Come over here and take a break. Let me give you a massage. The dragon went over and shackled him up. Then he tossed him onto the straw. He flopped right onto the big bed, looking all cozy. Putting on a sweet, submissive act. Mr. Dragon, you really should turn back into your human. That way, I can give you a proper massage. The dragon wasn't having any. Are you kidding me? Why do you think I made the bed this? He just doesn't want to turn back into. Elf is being so proactive here. And the dragon is completely unmoved. Elf must be so frustrated. Could it be that the dragon isn't even interested in men? What a Chinibu dragon, acting all cool. He's totally missing out on the beauty right in front of him. How about trying a different approach? Maybe something more direct, like showing off his own body instead? What are you waiting for? To stay with the dragon, Xinguang is really going to great lengths. And so, his life of drawing begins. The dragon takes him to find a good spot for a house. The dragon carries him around to scout out locations. Xinguang finally picks a high vantage point. Let's settle here. Xinguang hops off the dragon's back. Alright, that's it for today's tasks. I'm exhausted, let's call it a day. The hungry dragon shrugged its shoulders. That's why he handed over the blueprints. Xinguang passed the drawings over to him. Jiangrud insisted that he had to take a break today. Otherwise, he'd work himself to death. The dragon looked a bit annoyed. I didn't even ask you to do it. Just get out of here. Xinguang waved his hand dismissively. Without my guidance, he'd be completely. He won't be able to manage this place properly. Finally, he heads out with the map and managed to escape just in time. The news of his capture shouldn't have leaked out yet. He decides to head out for a stroll now. He arrives at a bustling marketplace. First things first, he needs to get out of this Divine Guard uniform. He walks into a clothing store, initiating style change mode. I'll take everything you've got here. Suddenly, a windswept white long coat caught his eye. It immediately grabbed his attention. Hey dragon, could you help me try this? He asked, gesturing toward. The dragon realized this was going to be a huge task. With a respectful nod, we're a bit short-staffed today, the shopkeeper muttered. Finally, he dumped a massive pile of gold right. It was right there before their eyes. The dragon changed into the clothes. Put it on the shelf, I need this outfit right now. When Xinguang returned, he was stunned. He never expected so much to have been. He walked forward, feeling over. He called out to Alan. Come over and check if I missed anything here. He opened the design to compare the two. Not only did he build upon his original design, but he also refined so many. While he was checking, Elan was. How are the clothes? Xinguang immediately started buttering him up to distract him. Mr. Dragon, you're the most brilliant architect I've ever met. You're an absolute genius. After hearing all that flattery, the dragon climbed down. Hurry up and get on. I'd been starving all day. Time to head back and roast some meat. Xinguang nervously sat on the dragon's back. This guy is really something. With that kind of experience and don't tell me he dug this himself? I thought they were just kids. He couldn't have found out I stole his treasure, could he? Xinguang patted the hungry dragon. Mr. Dragon, how about we go to the ruin and grab some dinner while we're at it? They've got tons of delicious food there. The dragon didn't want to go. Humans are always making such a fuss. Maybe you'll find something you like at the festival. Xinguang told the dragon about human delicacies. They're truly exquisite and delicious. As long as you act like a human, they'll be sure to treat you with open arms. Finally, the dragon reluctantly agreed. But once they arrived at the festival, the dragon with all sorts of human goods on display. He wanted everything he saw, but had no idea how. Xinguang watched the two of them communicating from the side. Finally, he tore a piece of gold right off the dragon's outfit. Pack all of this up for me, he said. The dragon could only stare helplessly as his gold was taken away. He was absolutely losing his mind. You're actually using my own gold to pay for this? Suddenly, a huge head appeared out of nowhere. The play was also meant to serve the boss's agenda. It was all just a high-stakes sales pitch. The dragon was completely bewildered. What's going on here? Seeing the crowd growing larger and larger, Xinguang grabbed him and happily escaped from the crowd. Xinguang was panting heavily. while the dragon was munching on some bread, looking quite content. He actually thought humans were pretty welcoming. The dragon handed a piece of bread to Shengguan. Mr. Dragon, you can just call me by my name. I Fu. The hungry dragon's mouth hasn't stopped moving for a second. I Fu. What a terrible name. I Fu is getting annoyed. Then, may I ask what your real name is? Hungry Dragon. I knew it, just Dragon. It's a better name than anything else. Back at the hideout that night, I Fu was seriously about to lose his mind. Looking like a total loser again. Such a pathetic sight. I can't take it anymore. I'm thinking about it all night long. Mr. Dragon, are you there? Could you keep me company and chat for a bit? The hungry dragon is really putting on quite a performance. Finally showing some respect to I Fu. Is this finally the start of the show? What? He's way too big. It's impossible to teach him Well, he can just transform into a human, can't he? It's like he's trying to wear clothes to catch the dragon's attention. The dragon just smashed through the door. The dragon is acting all lovey-dovey and blushing. Isn't this a bit much? The size difference is just too huge. It's impossible to communicate. The dragon suddenly got angry. He took my precious spirit gem. This immediately piqued I Fu's interest. Relong grabbed it, and all the gems just fell right off. I Fu jumped in anger. What a shoddy, half-baked job. They actually cut corners and just used glue to stick the gems on. Relong was so upset about the gems. Go to sleep, will you? We still have to keep working tomorrow. But then he felt something moving on his body. It turned out I Fu had climbed onto him to take a nap. Get off me! I Fu was lying there comfortably, not moving an inch. One hand is even stroking the purple gem on his forehead. Long, your body is so huge. What does it matter if I lie on you? I Fu reaches out and touches Relong's antennae. Relong's antennae are his sensitive spot. Relong can't take it anymore and twitches. He transforms into his human form. Caught off guard, I Fu falls right off him. The Iron Dragon finally cooled down and stopped breathing fire. I thought the Iron Dragon was finally going to let her go. She was overjoyed. She hurriedly climbed onto his back. But the very next second, the Iron Dragon grabbed and threw her 10 meters away. Damn it! How dare you try to mount me? I am a dragon. Even if I were looking for a mate, I'd pick. You're just a little human who tried to run away, and now you're back for more. Relong and I Fu are lying together in the same bed. I Fu is your wife, for heaven's sake, yet Relong thinks he's been drugged and taken advantage of. 2 men, 1 bed. And I Fu isn't even putting up a fight. In reality, he's just telling himself they just crashed for a nap, that's all. I Fu gives Qishur a cold, forced smile. Why are you here again, Lord Shengguan? Take care, Jia, the god of souls who believes in you. Everything will be fine once you pass the trial of the holy water. The holy water can purify the god of souls. If a soul god is found to be impure, they will perish instantly. Relong tries to explain the situation to the others. I didn't even touch this guy. This whole thing is just a misunderstanding. I Fu is absolutely furious. He decides to take it out on Qishur. Qishur is on the scene. I'm afraid my body and soul have been tainted by the dragon. Going back is a death sentence anyway. Are you willing to take the one I love? I Fu stared into the holy water with his eyes wide open. He started to weep. Qishur couldn't care less about his eyes or his beauty. Lurong stood by, watching with a cold sneer. Qishur grabbed I Fu, ready to make the trade. Lurong was furious. It's rare to see a wife so eager to get her husband pregnant. It's all me. Not so fast. Qishur pulls out his sword. Lord Shengguan has already promised me. What right do you have to fight me for him? Lurong gives him a look. I have every right to fight for the person who is mine. Lurong sends him flying 1,000 miles away in an instant. I Fu is furious. Lurong watches with amusement. So, you can't bear to let me go? Lurong pins the kid down firmly. Old Shang hasn't finished seeing you yet. You're not going anywhere. Lurong, a man wealthy enough to rival a nation, is completely wrapped around first, a bit of charm. Then, a little flattery, followed by playing the victim, and topped off with some clever scheme. When the wife knows how to act cute, the husband is bound to be head over heels. Give Su Gao Gao a gentle hug. Lurong is so smitten that she's practically melting. I Fu stands by the side, taking in this tender, affectionate side of Lurong. He's been watching since this morning and is already full just from this. I Fu stands up. Lurong, you must be starving. Let me go get you something to eat. Lurong treasures him like gold. Just like when she had that bread last. It only takes a little bit of effort. It's way better than catching wild rabbits in the meadow. I Fu came back again. Humanity has spent thousands of years inventing all sorts of delicacies. You only need to spend a tiny bit of effort, and you can taste them all. Laurent thought that actually made some sense, so he hesitantly took out a bit of energy. Ifu promised him that he would spend the least amount of money to enjoy the richest feast. Laurent still hasn't made up his mind. Ifu jumps up and snatches the rabbit from his hand. Laurent is stunned. Ifu gives him a look. "I'll go buy it for you right now. The crowd is already gathering." Ifu stands right in the middle of the crowd. Time is running out, and he's forced to make a choice. Plus, there's the address Laurent mentioned. The news that he's been caught has already spread across the entire country. Fortunately, Ifu had already created the ultimate knight back then, a god-slaying knight. Your opponent is no mere human. He is the demon king of the Ophia continent. If you really want to find him, you'll have to cross 2 deserts, 3 volcanoes, and 4 vast seas. Being a knight is too boring anyway. You decide to set off on a journey to hunt down the Demon King. Ifu's biggest worry right now is those Misha-like nuisances who keep bothering them constantly. Laurenshu might find it too troublesome and just leave on her own. Back at their place, Ifu meticulously prepared the food they'd brought. Laurenshu was very satisfied with the meal. "I would rather die by your hand than return to the church." Laurent was so shocked that he dropped the food he was holding. "Is everyone in the church as crazy as you? Why would you suddenly say something like that? You really don't want to go back to the church that much?" Ifu nodded firmly. "Actually, the church is just a gilded cage. They want to take me back to be their sacrificial offering." Laurent didn't understand what a sacrificial offering meant. "Please, save me. I'd rather die by your hand than go back to the church. I have to work 13 hours every single day. There are no days off and no pay. Laurent, please, you have to help." "The human church is absolutely terrifying," Ifu said, his eyes brimming with tears of grievance. "I had already resigned myself to my fate, but ever since you brought me back, I've realized that life could actually be this wonderful," he said, as he moved closer to Laurent. "I've fallen completely in love with you." Laurent naturally knows how outstanding he is, but he just couldn't believe it at first. Ifu showered him with endless flattery. "You're so incredible. How could I not be tempted? You are the master of this dark world. You're just so perfect. How could I possibly not love you?" Laurent felt a bit embarrassed by all the praise. "You've got great taste, too." Ifu keeps clinging to Laurent, refusing to let go. "If you make me go back to the church, and I can't be with you anymore, I'd rather just die." Yet, Laurent remains unmoved. Ifu turns around and starts sobbing uncontrollably. "I know you saved me before. Even if you don't like me, as long as you're willing to let me stay by your side, I'd be more than satisfied with that." Laurent didn't even say a word. "I never said I disliked you, either. But soon, plenty of people will come demanding the church's gold. You'll end up getting hurt, and then you'll start to hate me." Laurent was indeed thinking about the impending confrontation. How preposterous. Those weaklings could never lay a finger on me. "Don't you worry about a thing. As long as I'm here, they won't be able to lay a finger on." What a total smooth talker. A real blockhead. But they're honestly a match made in heaven. Cheng has been dying to be with Laurent. Just like that, so bright. Laurent didn't just refuse, she even helped. "I'm absolutely speechless. Who could even handle that?" So the wife kept nagging him to soak up Laurent's attention. Fan Shou went straight to find his brother. They wanted to run off together and live as a couple. "Laurent, why are you still hesitating?" Just as he was about to say it, Xingguan walked in. Laurent was more than willing to protect him. After that, they were inseparable for Fan. Any warriors who showed up were beaten off by Laurent. 3 months later, the old Prince Chang arrived. Laurent and Xingguan finally moved into their new place. With Laurent taking care of everything, Xingguan thought he could finally kick back and enjoy a life of leisure. Laurent, however, felt that while the garden looked nice, maintaining it was a total pain. Later, Xingguan just lounged around, happily reading his storybooks, while Laurent was busy stressing over how to fix the floor. He couldn't just leave it like that, or the floor would be ruined. "Every step I take leaves mud everywhere. Cleaning the floor is such a hassle. Even though he's taken human form, he's just there for show. It's a real pain to clean up after him all by myself. While I'm busy working, he's just lounging around, doing nothing." Laurent is fed up. She storms into the bedroom, fuming. Shinguan doesn't even look back, still glued to his comic book. Lorong finally snaps. I won't have any idlers here. If you want to stay, you have to get up and do some work for me. Only then did Ifu reluctantly turn around, giving in to Lorong's wishes. From that day on, Ifu became the household maid. She had to endure Lorong's constant supervision every day. Lorong would make Ifu do all sorts of chores, and even force her to grill meat for him under the scorching sun. She had to grill it while feeling miserable, and Lorong is completely fed up with his wife's terrible grilling skills. Elf is already exhausted and crawling on the ground. How can he even eat that burnt mess? He doesn't want the meat, he wants something else. Lorong just up and left, not even looking back, leaving Elf all alone to clean up the mess. The more Elf thinks about it, the angrier she didn't go through all that trouble to escape just to end up stuck. So, Elf leaves a letter for Lorong. Dear Mr. Long, I work so hard every single day, and I feel so lonely. I'm looking for a man to marry and move out with. Wait a minute, Lorong, that jerk, he actually ran off on his own. Meanwhile, AI Fu is in a huge rush, searching for her guy. Excuse me, sir, are you looking for a job? I'm here to find a helper for our boss, Mr. Long. It's a bit of a backdoor arrangement, but room and board are definitely provided. Seeing the young man's desperate situation. That's amazing. You're literally my savior. Ifu stares at the young man in front of him. Since you're not bad, I'll let you stay. But keep in mind, our identities are a bit. Just keep in mind, you need to keep this a secret for me. The guy followed closely behind, his heart pounding. My lips are sealed. I wouldn't even mind if the boss were a demon. Ifu tested him, probing for a reaction. His personality is way better than that dragon's, isn't it? If only he hadn't just, with me. But then, thinking of that intimate moment. No way. I don't want to get all cuddly with him, my body doesn't lie. I guess he just wasn't handsome enough. No way. I need to go pick out some more hotties. Ifu 16 ran out. Time to find some more beefy soldiers to spice. So, Ifu started narrowing down the options. Super buff soldiers living in a big castle, eating meat and living free. The most important thing is that they have such tempting conditions on the table. A whole bunch of muscle hunks signed up in an instant. The guys spared no effort to show off their charms, trying to impress the lady. Cute Elf took one look at them and was like, what on earth? How could they be so disappointing? What kind of In a fit of desperation, she applied for a white, determined to offer her first time to Luan as a token of her devotion. When Elong refused him, the reason for the refusal was absurd. His superior told Ifu to go find the young man. No, in the end, Ifu wasn't really interested in anyone. It wasn't long before Luan found Ifu and brought him back to the flower pavilion. Once they reached the castle, I begged Luan to let him go. Luan had already made up. I don't agree. You are my prisoner. I have no choice but to stay here. Ifu felt completely hopeless inside the Starbase castle. The guys followed him into the castle as well. They tried to apply medicine to Luan, but seeing the guys barge in, Luan's anger only intensified. Luan had been looking for a way to break out of this prison. Little did he expect the guys to show off such top-tier skills. Their ability to handle awkward situations and their sheer endurance and work ethic drove Luan absolutely. Are they here to annoy me? The Luluan character from the Ifu family. The guys start trying to sweet-talk him. Mr. Luluan, my body. If I can't even do the work right, staying here will only cause you trouble. He says this while hanging his head, looking all pitiful. These guys are actually more useful than I thought. And they won't go around blabbing about our identities either. The guys immediately start fearfully stating their own prices. Luan watched the guys, not saying a word. Ifu, on the other hand, kept piling tasks onto Luan, acting like Luan turned his head, his expression shifting from Ifu's gaze to a look of bitter resentment. I know I'm not as good as the ones you had before. Just let me jump into the fire and do the heavy lifting like If that's not good enough, then just use them once I'm dead. At least that way, I can still be of some use to you. Luan awkwardly brushed his hair back. It's not that I can't use you, but there are conditions. Suddenly, you can't run away, or I'll kill them. Saying that, he scooped her up in his arms. Ifu was so happy she couldn't help but beam. I won't run away ever again. Could you, maybe change the way you're holding? Deep down, she was secretly hoping for a princess carry. But the next second, Luan impatiently hoisted her over his shoulder. Ifu realized she just couldn't bring herself to be interested in any other man. So she had no choice but to rely on Luan to help her, and it had to be done as quickly as possible. Otherwise, if Shinjianqi returns, Luan Yi might not be able to protect her. A while later, Luan is admiring the treasure he dug up all by himself. Ai Fu stands to the side, secretly marveling at Luan's skills. Ever since they moved into the castle, they've been spending a lot more time together. She thinks about his tone of voice, intentional. AI. So close, yet so far. Luan tilts his head, clearly annoyed. Do you have a problem with my treasure? Ai Fu just keeps staring at him, mesmerized. Not at all. I'm just so touched. He sat down right beside Luan. He was wearing those big, doll-like contact lenses. Luan, you're only doing this because it's all for me. As long as you don't mind, I'm willing to give you my all. Luan pouted, turned his head away, and started eating. You just have to be with me, that's all. I used to discriminate against you back then. I'm trying to explain everything to you now. I only wanted to find a way to trick Luan. He raised his hand and swore an oath. To this day, I haven't slept with anyone else. Luan said, I'll go with you. You are the only one I truly love. I also keep thinking about the first time I met Mr. Luan. Luan looked at the silent Jinhua. In the end, he turned away and walked off. I am Luan. You are a human. It's impossible for us. But Ai Fu, you're pushing me away. We're both here now, what's the problem? Luan immediately wraps himself up in the blanket. No, it's just not right. Ai Fu grinds his teeth and pulls out his trump card. I thought you were different from those other humans, because I used to be a god. So they refused to show any reverence to the gods. I never thought you were just another coward, just like them. As soon as those words left her mouth, Luan clearly didn't. Luan poked his head out. Who are you calling a coward? Ai Fu continued to whine, sounding completely aggrieved. My life is ruined anyway, so what does it matter? I'm destined to be broken and I have to stay here, being looked down upon by the person I love. Luan was left speechless, struggling. I didn't say I was disgusted. Ai Fu pulls the covers up. I'd rather not stay here and gross you out. Luan wanted to reach out and comfort Ai Fu. But in the end, he pulled his hand back, his mind a blank. I wasn't. I was just worried you couldn't handle it, Luan. Ai Fu's eyes lit up at the mention of it. She reached out to touch Luan's face. She wanted to take the lead, but Luan was having none of it and got angry. He kicked her away in a fit of frustration. He even tossed her aside without a second thought. He shouted, Is this the kind of trick you're trying to pull? He just didn't get it. He had no idea who was really in control. From then on, Ai Fu didn't hold back with Luan anymore. The kid was completely under Luan's thumb. Luan kept up his usual teasing, and things were pretty. The household was peaceful and harmonious. Everyone just went about their. One day, while Luan was digging up some treasure, he noticed that the guy, Luan Ho, hadn't found anything. He remembered how much Ai Fu doted on this blue-clad guy. Suddenly, he realized he hadn't seen him around lately. Meanwhile, Ai Fu was busy tending to the half-dead Luan Ho. The number of Luan monkeys was quite high, but there were still a lot of risks involved. Ai Fu was about to lose his mind. He just wanted to make a reasonable profit. He didn't want to run his body into the ground. Just then, a Luan monkey came from outside. Ai Fu, get out here right now. He stood up and was about to open the door, but Luan couldn't wait and shoved it open forcefully. So, you're still obsessing over that red hair in your hand? Just then, his wife walked in. Seeing her, Luan didn't dare to say a word. He just waited for her to speak. Ai Fu, however, had his heart set on mastering the forbidden technique. Round after round, he kept practicing. After saying that, he coldly brushed past her and walked away. Luan was still rambling on behind him, going on and on about the red-haired stone in his hand. In the end, all he got from Ai Fu was a cold, indifferent response. Is there anything else? Ai Fu's husband, Luan, tries to use his eyes to get a look. You're not looking now, are you? Don't come begging me to show you later. Ai Fu was totally fed up with Luan's attitude. But she immediately changes her tune and starts showering. She goes full-on nagging mode. The wife is clearly hiding something. Luan keeps on buttering her up with his flattery. You really have no clue, do you? Since you're so desperate to see it, fine, I'll show you. Ai Fu takes the red gemstone into her hands. A sudden thought crosses Ai Fu's mind. Luan is still busy rambling on and on. Ai Fu immediately snatches it right out of his hand. She starts frantically flipping through her book, searching. Found it! Isn't this the wish-granting magic stone? Having confirmed it, Ai Fu turns to Luan with a new plan in mind. Mr. Luan, could you lend me this red gemstone for a few days? Luan pins Ai Fu onto the desk. Tell me the truth. What exactly have you been up to? Aifu thinks to herself. Oh no. This is a huge. Aifu, blushing, leans in and Luan tries to hold back. But in the end, he loses all control. Searching for the higher level spellbooks, Luan's magic. Luan definitely found out. Aifu thought to himself, if he just told Luan the truth about everything, she probably wouldn't believe him anyway. Luan pushed Aifu away. Luan started spouting nonsense again. Even though you're powerful, you're still underestimating the power of humans and modules. The new manager had already prepared a powerful human traveling alone arrived just in time. But the magic from these discriminatory nodes had basically returned. Even if it were you, Luan, you wouldn't necessarily be able. With these words spoken, Luan, for the first time, didn't lash out. What are you even saying, Aifu? Do you really think I'd get beaten by them? Aifu finally let out a sigh of relief. While gathering the scattered books, she looked aggrieved. When it hits 80,000, I don't want to hold you back. If I run into such powerful enemies in the future, I'll leave ahead of time. That's why I need to learn some skills so I can look after myself. Aifu explains to Luan. But the point of concern is, Aifu still has to leave. Luan and Aifu can't be together forever. A casual attitude is just a prelude to leaving. But only a few days later, Luan started feeling uneasy. Aifu and I are both teachers for Luan, but she hasn't helped me at all ever since she ran away and came back. Every time she comes to me, it's just to ask for bail. It's not like she ran away last time, found someone new, and lost interest in me. Thinking about this, Luan, however, didn't realize that Aifu was get himself bailed out. So, Luan rushed over to Aifu's place and knocked on the door. Aifu opened the door, but there was no movement inside for a long while. Could he have escaped through the window? Meanwhile, Aifu was lying on the desk, burning up with a fever. He thought that by taking all the blame upon himself, he could handle it. He was obsessed with the idea that as long as he became strong, he wouldn't need anyone's help, and he wouldn't have to fear any. But he forgot one thing: the human body is too fragile to withstand such immense power. Luan kicked open the corner of the door, rushing in to find Aifu, and only stopped when he saw Aifu slumped over the desk, unconscious. He hasn't even managed to escape. He walked over to the table, but Aifu didn't react at all. Luan gave Aifu a nudge, but Aifu remained completely unresponsive. Seeing this, Luan panicked and started shaking Aifu vigorously. Aifu, wake up. That's when Luan noticed Aifu's face was burning up. He pressed his forehead against Aifu's to check. A human's temperature couldn't possibly be higher than mine. Realizing he had a fever, Luan scooped Aifu up in his arms. It looks like that warm water soak really did the trick. Just then, Aifu slowly opened his eyes. Luan pretended to be worried. Are you feeling hot? I'll take you for a warm bath. At that moment, a thought flashed through Aifu's mind. Luan possesses the ability to heal and strengthen the body. Suddenly, Aifu reached out and hugged Luan, whispering, I'm feeling. Luan kissed him on the forehead. Caught off guard by the kiss, Luan held Aifu even tighter. Only the real one can perform the deed. After a while, Luan couldn't take it anymore and let out a sigh. Aifu, however, endured it and looked. Are you still going to keep saying that this is good? Do you need Luan to heal you? Looking at Aifu like this, Luan's heart was pounding uncontrollably. He tried his best to restrain himself, but in the end, he still lifted Aifu's hand. He couldn't hold back anymore. Aifu finally got what she wanted from Luan. However, Luan soon realized that it was all just a ploy by Aifu to trick him. She had been trying to recover her lost memories all along. Yet, instead of blaming Aifu, he offered to grant her one wish. Looking back at the events that followed, when Aifu came down with a fever, Luan took the initiative to take care of. Seeing Aifu in such a vulnerable state, Luan couldn't help but lose control, eventually reciprocating her. However, he had been kissing Aifu for a long time. He kept checking on Aifu's face with a worry. Yet, he still couldn't bring himself to leave. After resting for a while, he finally opened his eyes. By then, Aifu's fever had finally broken. Luan was visibly relieved and let out a long sigh. Aifu, still weak, told him he wanted to sleep for a bit. In the end, Luan stayed by Aifu's bedside. He carefully tucked Aifu in, watching him sleep so peacefully. He couldn't help but wonder what exactly Aifu was hiding from him. It's impossible that she just fell ill out of nowhere. And when he saw the details of Aifu's condition, and realized what she had been through, he finally understood that Aifu had been studying magic, all for the sake of her loved ones. Looking at Aifu sleeping soundly on the bed, Luan couldn't believe that Ifu had gone to such lengths and risked using forbidden magic for his sake. But when he realized what she was planning for the night ahead, Luan was completely overwhelmed. Ifu was planning to use magic to infiltrate the enemy's camp. Then, he sold out the honest soldiers one by one. He even overthrew the ancient royal knights who couldn't be corrupted. Finally, after being elected king, he seized absolute— Don't be fooled, he only wanted to use me to win. After deceiving the honest king, Luan found a clue hidden in the books on the desk. I shouldn't have trusted humans. With such a short lifespan of only a few decades, they're always so eager to die. There's so much I still want to do. I have no intention of being dragged down by them. When it was time to leave, Xiaoko brought some food for Ifu. As soon as the door opened, the intense aura made Xiaoko nearly mistake him for a demon. Luan took the food without a word and quickly shooed Xiaoko away. After closing the door, Luan looked deeply troubled. He only took Ifu in because he didn't want the kid to go back to the church. But as soon as he's capable of protecting himself, he won't be staying here anymore. Just as he was lost in thought, Ifu woke up. Luan fed Ifu some milk with a cold— Drink this first. Ifu took it and downed it in one go. But seeing Luan staring at him intently, he thought Luan was just being shy. He handed the cup back to Luan. Mr. Luan, is something on your mind? Luan stared at the empty cup, then suddenly said, with a very serious expression, It's just for building houses and helping out, that's all. I can grant you one wish. And then you can leave. I love you, Luan. Luan promised to marry him, body and soul. It turns out it wasn't just because he was afraid the divine barrier couldn't withstand. It was also because Luan was afraid. Years ago, when Luan broke the seal in the cave, Lu Zi was enraged. He went into the forest to stop him, and that is the truth of what happened. By chance, he ran into an old priest. Not only was Luan not afraid, but he even took the initiative to help him with his— The old priest was overjoyed. So he took Luan home to teach him how to read and speak. But 8 years later, the old man suddenly told Luan that he had to leave. He promised to return once Luan had finished reading. However, even after Luan had finished every single book on the old priest never came back. Worried, he heads out to search for him everywhere. Just then, he spots Luan in the forest. What is buried here? Let's listen to their conversation. Ignoring everything else, Luan rushes forward. With all his might, he tries to pull the bandages off the old priest. When he realizes it's truly the old priest, Luan experiences the reality of death. He clings to the old priest, sobbing. He had already finished reading the book. Ever since then, he tried to understand people. But he realized that some people prey on the weak, while others, having crawled through life, would rather be alone than keep company with. He spent most of his time treasure hunting, and when he fell asleep. Until that day, the boy stumbled into the cave. If it weren't for that kid, he never would have met Eve, and he wouldn't have ended up with such a massive castle of his own. But people are just fleeting, like a passing spark. Humans aren't like gold or jewels. They won't stay by your side forever. Eve watched Ling, who seemed lost in thought. It was the first time she'd ever seen him like this. He isn't angry, is he? Thinking about how he swallowed 3 grams of my gem. He couldn't be thinking of leaving me, could he? But he doesn't look angry, either. And he even said he'd help me with my luck. Thinking of this, Elf felt a surge of courage. She decided to make a request to the dragon. I was hoping, Mr. Dragon, that you could help me break. Before she could even finish her— The dragon placed his claw on Elf's head and turned her down on the spot. He even said something so bizarre. Make sure you stay alive. With that, he just flew off, leaving a dumbfounded Ifu behind. He knew the dragon would turn him down, so he had already prepared a strange plan. Ifu pulled out a story about an anti-church hero